The Kraft Foods Company presents Willard Waterman as the Great Gildersleeve. The Great Gildersleeve is brought to you, partially transcribed, by the Kraft Foods Company. Kraft, makers of the one and only Miracle Whip salad dressing. We say one and only because there just isn't any other salad dressing like Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip is different, and it tastes different. Miracle Whip tastes so good, it's become the most popular salad dressing ever created. More Miracle Whip is sold than the next 20 leading brands of salad dressing combined. Try it. Make your salads better tasting with the one and only Miracle Whip. Well, there are times when you want to stop and talk to your neighbors, and there are times when you don't. It all depends on the mood you're in. As usual, the Great Gildersleeve feels like talking as he ambles home from the office. Unfortunately, the only neighbor available is Rumson Bullard.
That Bullard. What an unsociable fellow. He saw me coming down the street. He didn't have to turn his back and start digging in his flower bed. By George, just for the heck of it, I'll make him talk. Hello, Mr. Bullard. Mr. Bullard, I said hello.
Oh, it's you, Gildersleeve.
That's right.
Hello.
I see you're working in your flower bed.
You do?
What are you planting in there this year? Petunias?
No.
Snapdragons?
No.
Well, whatever you're planting, it won't be long now before the little green shoots will be coming up. There'll be buds on the trees. I saw a robin today.
Well, bully for you.
Say, I noticed some ladders beside your driveway. What are you planning to do with those?
Gildersleeve, what do you usually do with ladders?
Climb them.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes. Well, sorry I can't stay and talk with you, but I have to go home.
Goodbye.
Oh, my goodness. Goodbye. What a clam. Even Kefauver couldn't get anything out of that Bullard. I wonder where everybody is. Leroy, Marjorie.
Here I am, Unky, and you're Dan.
Well, hello, Marjorie. What are you doing, my dear?
I'm figuring.
You?
Bronco and I need $2,000 to finish our house.
$2,000?
It's costing more than we thought, and the bank isn't at all encouraging about increasing our loan.
That's too bad.
Till we get the money, we can't even put on the roof. Bronco would have to be out of town at a time like this.
No, Marjorie, why didn't you come to me?
Oh, I didn't want to bother you, Unky. If Bronco were here, he'd know exactly what to do.
Well, he isn't the only one around here who knows what to do when a problem comes up.
Hi, what's going on?
Hello, Leroy. I was helping you work things out long before he showed up.
Before who showed up?
Oh, I know, Unky, but it's his responsibility.
Whose responsibility?
That may be, but he isn't here.
Who isn't here?
Just a minute, Leroy.
Gosh, a guy can't get any answers around here.
Unky, you don't have $2,000, do you?
I know the answer to that.
Well, I may not have it, but I'll bet I could get it.
Oh, could you, Unky?
Where?
Leroy, this doesn't concern you.
Who does it concern?
Oh, Leroy, we were talking about Bronco.
You mean I'm going to borrow $2,000 from Bronco?
No, Leroy. Now run along.
Okay. I got a couple of bucks laying around. Nobody's going to get it from me now. Try and get it.
That boy.
Unky, I would appreciate it if you'd try to get the money for us.
What do you mean, try? I'll get it.
Oh, you're wonderful, Unky.
Yeah, I'm not so wonderful. Well, I guess I am at that. Marjorie and Bronco would never get that house without my help. Lucky for them they have me to depend on. Think I'll stop in and see Judge Hooker. Might get the money from one of his clients. He knows a lot of influential people, investors. Hello, Judge.
Well, good morning, Gildy. Come on in.
Thank you.
What brings you into my office? Are you suing or being sued?
No, just doing Marjorie and Bronco a favor, Judge.
You mean you've decided to stop interfering in their affairs?
You're right, Judge. They need my interference, and you know it.
Only joshing, Gildy. I hope they don't have a serious problem.
Well, they need a little money.
Oh?
Their house is costing them a little more than they figured, and the bank isn't too encouraging. So I thought you might have some clients with investment capital.
Well, most of them are investing their capital on March 15th.
Think, Judge. There must be somebody left with money after March 15th.
Well, I have one client who made a fortune raising chinchillas.
Chinchillas. For fur coats, huh?
He started in a modest way, and within a short time, he had large sums to invest. Gildy, do you realize chinchillas cost $1,500 a pair?
Say, let's not borrow the money. Let's borrow a pair of chinchillas.
Unfortunately, he isn't in town. Now, let's see. The only other client that I know of who might make the loan is your neighbor.
Rumson Bullard?
Thinking back, he was in only a short time ago to inquire if I knew where he might place a few thousand to advantage.
He never lent me the money.
He wouldn't lend it to you, but he might to a deserving couple like Marjorie and Bronco.
Yeah, I can never ask a favor of him. He won't even tell me what a ladder is for.
It's to climb.
I know that, Judge. Whatever made me think I'd get help from an old goat.
Yeah, Marge?
Hasn't Uncle Mort come home yet?
No.
Oh, I can hardly wait.
Hardly wait for what?
Why, to find out how soon we're going to get the money to finish the house.
Oh, yeah, he was going to dig up a loan, wasn't he?
Uh-huh. Isn't Unky wonderful, Leroy? He didn't have to do this for Bronco and me. But when he saw how we needed help to finish our house, why, he volunteered to go out and get us $2,000.
Gosh, if that's all you have to do to get $2,000, I think I'll build a house.
Oh, Leroy. Well, I have to check the twins. Let me know when Unky comes home.
Okay. Hey, it's 5:30. He ought to be home by now. I think I'll walk down the street and meet him. Ah.
Hello, Leroy.
How long have you been sitting here out on the porch? Marge is waiting for you.
That's why I'm sitting on the porch.
You mean you didn't get the money?
Well, Leroy, I exhausted every possibility. There's only one person left to go to, and that's Mr. Bullard.
What's wrong with his money?
Leroy, you know how things are between Mr. Bullard and me. I can't go to him on bended knees.
Why not? He'd like that.
I'll never ask a favor of Bullard.
You're going to let Marge and Bronco down, huh?
Well,
And she was just saying what a wonderful uncle you are. Were.
she was.
Yeah. You know how it is. We kids have always thought you could do anything.
Please, Leroy.
Okay, I won't say any more about it. Maybe it's our fault. Maybe we just expect too much of you.
Leroy, I haven't given up.
Well, Mr. Bullard's home right now, but he won't be there long.
Oh?
He said the smell of fresh paint is making him sick. He's moving into a hotel.
So that's why he has the ladders he's redecorating.
Yeah, he sent Babs and her mother out of town until it's done. He's all alone, Unc. Now's a good time to ask him for the money.
Well, as much as I'd like to help Marjorie, I can't bring myself. Say, if I do Bullard a favor, he might do me a favor.
The only favor he's ever wanted you to do for him is move.
Now, Leroy, I was considering a very neighborly gesture. Why should Mr. Bullard check into a hotel while they're painting his house? Why doesn't he come over here and stay with us?
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. When you think about it, it's a very nice thing for me to do.
I'll say.
And then if he wants to do something nice for me, I won't carry a grudge. I'll accept his money.
What a character.
You stay here, Leroy.
Okay. Good luck, Unc.
Thank you, my boy. Here, there's Mr. Bullard now, coming out on the porch. By George, I won't let Marjorie and Bronco down. Yoo-hoo! Mr. Bullard!
What? Oh. You-hoo, Gildersleeve.
Mr. Bullard, I have good news for you. It won't be necessary for you to move into a hotel.
It won't?
No, indeed. Thing for you to do is pack a bag and move over to my house.
Gildersleeve, I stepped out of the house to get away from the paint fumes. I'm a little woozy. I didn't really hear you invite me over to your house, did I?
You certainly did. I'd be happy to have you, under the circumstances. Paint and all.
Oh, thank you, Gildersleeve.
You'll come?
No. I wouldn't think of inconveniencing you.
No inconvenience. You don't want to go to a hotel.
I do.
Mr. Bullard, please reconsider. Come over to my house.
Thanks again, Gildersleeve, but I really...
Bullard, you have to come.
Oh? Why?
Well...
Gildersleeve, in the years we've lived across the street from each other, we've never been, shall we say, close?
True, we haven't.
To be brutally frank, we have very little in common.
Yes, but...
You must have some reason for inviting me over. What is it?
Well, I just want to show you what kind of a neighbor I am.
I know what kind of a neighbor you are.
You'll come anyway. Yeah, I mean...
Gildersleeve, you already have a house full. Marjorie, Bronco, the twins, Leroy, and yourself. Where would I sleep? In the coal bin?
You know, you could sleep in the den.
The den? Gildersleeve, I'm not a bear. Good day.
You wait a minute. Mr. Bullard, where are you going?
I'm going back inside with the paint fumes.
What a difficult man to borrow money from. Gildersleeve, you can't give up. You got to see that Marjorie and Bronco finish their house. Say, I wonder if Peavy has a little money in his sock. Hello, Peavy.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you this evening?
Peavy, you've been plugging along in this drugstore for years.
Yes?
You must have quite a little money you can put your hands on.
How's that?
Liquid assets, Peavy.
Well, you might say I have some liquid assets.
If I'm not too personal, where do you keep your money, Peavy?
Well, mostly in bottles.
In bottles?
Here on the shelves.
Oh, my goodness. Peavy, you must have some money besides what you have invested here in the drugstore. I happen to know of a good risk.
Mr. Gildersleeve, if it's risky, how can it be good?
Well, this one is. I'll guarantee the payments myself. How about it, Peavy? It's very important.
Well, all I can do is make an appointment for you with my banker.
Fine. Who's your banker?
Mrs. Peavy. If you can borrow any money from her, you're welcome to it.
I see. Well, I was just trying to make a loan for Marjorie and Bronco to finish their house.
Did they try the bank?
No luck, Peavy. I even went to Bullard.
Romson Bullard?
Yeah. I even invited him to stay at my house while his is being painted. Fresh paint makes him ill, Peavy.
But he preferred to paint to you,
He's going to a hotel.
Lucky you.
What's this?
I'll bet he'd have you jumping, waiting on him hand and foot.
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
I doubt if even Bertie could please him.
Well, Bertie's a great cook, Peavy.
Yeah, so am I, but Mr. Bullard came in here once for lunch. Just one.
Oh?
He ordered a 4-minute egg, and I boiled it exactly 4 minutes. He tasted it, said my clock was slow, and stamped out.
He did?
To this day, he owes me for 1 egg.
Why, George, Peavy, I'm glad he refused to come to my house. I had a very narrow squeak.
I'm here to tell you.
Well, Gildersleeve, there you are.
Oh, hello, Mr. Bullard.
Peavy?
Mr. Bullard?
Gildersleeve, I've been looking for you. There's a convention in town, and the hotels are filled.
Too bad.
So, as much as I dislike imposing on a neighbor, I've decided to take you up on your kind invitation.
My.
But, Mr. Bullard, this morning you sounded as if you weren't interested in staying at my home.
Oh, well, I may have been irritable because of that confounded paint, but I feel better now.
I don't.
I'll have my bags on the front porch. When you go home tonight, you can carry them across the street.
Who? Me?
And, by the way, for breakfast in the morning, I like a 4-minute egg.
You better wind your clock.
I thought you'd like to warn Bertie, Gildersleeve. I have to go to a meeting now, so I'll see you later. Don't go to any trouble for me.
You? No.
Good night.
Peavy, what do you think of that?
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, there's an old saying, never pet a porcupine. Looks like you're stuck.
Yes.
great Gildersleeve will be back in just a minute. How's your imagination tonight? Well, try it. Just imagine a shimmering lime gelatin mold filled with luscious bits of peaches, pears, pineapple, and cherries, and nestled on a bed of ice-fresh lettuce. That's a salad masterpiece. But it's not quite complete. You need salad dressing, too. But what kind? The one you choose has to have just the right flavor, a flavor that'll bring out the very best in your salad. So choose the salad dressing with the flavor millions of folks call just exactly right. Choose Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip salad dressing has a wonderful, lively, teasing flavor, a different flavor you won't find in any other salad dressing because Miracle Whip is made from a recipe known only to Kraft. It's a recipe that combines the qualities of old-fashioned boiled dressing and fine mayonnaise to give you the best of both. So many people like Miracle Whip so much, it's become the most popular salad dressing ever created, outselling the next 20 leading brands of salad dressing combined. Enjoy delicious, satiny Miracle Whip on your salads. Now, during Lent, chances are salads are a more important part of your menu than ever, so make sure they taste their best. Make them with Miracle Whip. But remember, there's only one Miracle Whip salad dressing, so be sure you see the name on the jar you buy. Miracle Whip, made by Kraft. Well, Mr. Bullard is having his house redecorated, so the great Gildersleeve invited him to be his guest for a few days. Mr. Bullard hasn't arrived yet, but already the water commissioner is having his regrets.
What a neighbor. Practically ordering me to lug his suitcases across the street. What does he think I am, a bellboy?
What's going on out there?
It's me, Bertie.
Hey, Marge, get a load of lunch. He's carrying 4 suitcases and wearing 3 hats.
Hello, children.
What are you doing with all those suitcases?
Mr. Bullard's going to be with us for a while.
Mr. Bullard.
Mr. Bullard? What's he going to do, stay all year?
No, Leroy, just a few days.
Uncle Mort, what's this all about?
You ask Marjorie.
Nobody told me we was going to have a guest.
Bertie, I didn't know it myself until a few minutes ago.
I get it. He's going to let you have the dough for the house, huh?
Leroy.
Uncle Mort, did you invite Mr. Bullard over here because he's giving you the money to finish our house?
Certainly not.
Well, thank goodness.
I wouldn't ask him for the money until he's been here a while. Yeah, I mean...
That's a neat plan, Unc.
Why, it's a terrible thing to do.
No, Margie, I'd given up the idea. But he insisted on coming. And besides, the judge told me Bullard has money he wants to lend.
Uncle Mort, Bronco will be furious.
He won't if you get the money.
Where's Mr. Bullard going to stay?
Well, I thought we'd put him in the den. Come on, Leroy, help me with this stuff.
Okay, I'll wear the hats.
Big help. Here.
Well, now that you've invited him, there's nothing else to do but try and make him comfortable.
Something tells Bertie he's a pretty hard man to make comfortable.
No, Bertie, we'll manage. The hotels are full, so I invited him over.
Oh, Unc, while he's staying here, he'll speak to you, won't he?
Naturally, Leroy. I don't know why everybody's making a big thing out of this. True, Bullard and I have never been the best of friends, but he's a gentleman. He'll accept our hospitality in the spirit in which it's given.
I'll get it.
Yeah, that must be Bullard. Everybody on his toes.
Good evening, Bertie.
Even Mr. Bullard, we've been expecting you.
Well, Mr. Bullard, you come in. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Hello, Leroy.
Hi. Hello, Mr. Bullard.
Marjorie. It's nice of you people to provide shelter for this poor, unfortunate nomad who would be walking the streets if it were not for your thoughtfulness.
Oh, brother. Well, we hope you'll be comfortable, Mr. Bullard.
We sure do.
You come in here, Mr. Bullard. I'll show you where you're going to stay. The den.
Oh, yes, the den.
Yeah, I put your bags over there, and you sleep here.
Here?
On the couch.
Oh, splendid. It pulls out?
It is out.
Oh? Where do I put my head?
You up at this end?
Then where will I put my feet?
Well, I suppose something will have to hang over.
Maybe you can sleep like a jackknife.
Very good, Leroy. I often sleep that way.
You do?
Unc, you slept down here. Why don't you give Mr. Bullard your room? Gotta think of these things, Unc.
May I see your room, Gildersleeve?
Yes, indeed. I was about to suggest that. What I go through for the little family.
Unc, you're going to be late to the office if you don't eat breakfast soon.
Well, Leroy, Mr. Bullard's my guest. I have to wait for him to come down.
He sure is causing you a lot of trouble, Unc. Taking your room last night, making you go hungry this morning.
Yeah, I wish he'd hurry. I've heard him milling around up there for 20 minutes.
Maybe he's taking his morning walk inside his room.
Yes.
Here's your lunch pail, Leroy.
Thanks, Bertie. Well, so long, Unc. I got to get to school.
Goodbye, Leroy.
And, Unc,
What is it, my boy?
I wouldn't take any more of this. Why don't you try to get the 2,000 today and kick him out?
Leroy, he'll hear you.
Just an idea.
It's not a bad idea either.
Here comes Mr. Bullard, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yeah, it's about time.
I better hit for the kitchen.
Good morning, Gildersleeve.
Good morning, Mr. Bullard. You sit right there. You rested well, I hope?
Oh, thank you for asking.
You found my bed comfy, did you?
Gildersleeve, I haven't rested the way I did last night since I was in the Navy aboard a destroyer.
Oh?
Rough seas and a swaying hammock. What fun.
Well, why don't you take the couch in the den tonight?
I'll have my breakfast now. How soon will my 4-minute egg be ready?
It's been ready for 10 minutes.
What? Gildersleeve, I can't eat a 14-minute egg.
You won't have to. We're putting it in the potato salad for dinner.
Good morning, Mr. Bullard.
Good morning, Bertie.
Here's your breakfast.
You ready? What about Mr. Bullard's egg?
Mr. Gildersleeve, we're out of eggs.
No.
Well, you didn't mention we was having company till you come in with them suitcases last night. Bertie ain't responsible for having no eggs.
Yeah, I understand that, Bertie.
Well, I always have an egg for breakfast. Gildersleeve, why don't you run down to the market and get some?
Now, Mr. Bullard, why don't you take the cover off your plate?
Well, can I believe my eyes? An English mutton chop.
Is that what it is?
I'd almost forgotten they existed. Such ingenuity. Bertie, you're priceless.
Yes, sir.
Looks fine. Bertie, can I have one of those sometime?
Yes, sir.
And done to a turn. Gildersleeve, perhaps you shouldn't hear what I have to say.
You?
Bertie, how much does your present employer pay you?
What a guest. Now he's trying to steal my cook. Hello, Leroy.
Hi, Unc. What do you got in the package? Money?
Well, practically. Filet mignon steaks.
Mr. Bullard wants them for dinner, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, steaks. I'm beginning to wish he'd stay around a while.
Well, I'm not. He's taken my room. He's tried to hire Bertie. He's made an errand boy out of me. I wouldn't take this abuse if it wasn't to help Marjorie.
What did Mr. Bullard say about the loan, Unc?
He hasn't been in good enough mood for me to ask him for it. But I'll try to bring it up tonight. Never mind, Bertie. Here, Leroy, take these steaks back to Bertie.
Okay.
I hope it isn't Bullard coming home early. He'd better watch it. He can insult me once too often.
Afternoon, Gildy.
Hello, Judge. Come in.
Thank you.
For a minute, I thought it was Bullard.
Is he still here? Since the convention's over today, I thought he'd be moving into a hotel.
You say the convention is over?
Yes, but that isn't what I came by to tell you. I have wonderful news for Marjorie.
Oh?
I took it upon myself today to talk to some of the bank directors about Marjorie and Bronco's house loan, and it's practically certain to go through.
Judge, that's great. My problems are over. I can't wait to tell Marjorie.
All we need is the approval of one more member of the board.
I'm here, Bertie.
You suppose that's Rumsden?
Yeah, I know the way he leans on the doorbell. But he's on thin ice. One crack and out he goes.
Now, wait a minute, Gildy. If I were you...
Hello, Gildersleeve. Judge.
Hello, Rumsden.
Hello.
Gildersleeve, I hope you didn't forget the fillets I wanted for dinner.
What if I did?
Gildy.
Gildersleeve, I've been looking forward to my dinner. I gave you specific instructions.
Well, I'm no longer taking instructions.
Now, Gildy, don't get upset.
You keep out of this, Judge.
But, Gildy, if you...
Bullard, I feel that you're not happy staying with us. Well, I have news for you. The convention's over. There are plenty of hotel rooms, and I'm sure you'd be more comfortable in one of those.
Gildy, please.
Gildersleeve, I can take a hint. I'm not dense.
How are you going to prove it?
By packing my bags and leaving. Immediately.
Good. I'll be holding the front door open.
Gildy, do you realize what you've done?
You bet. At last I told Bullard off.
The only trouble is you told off a member of the bank board.
Yeah.
Bullard is the man we need to approve Bronco and Marjorie's loan.
You, my goodness. Mr. Bullard, wait. Don't pack. Don't leave. How do you want your steak?
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just 30 seconds. There's a secret to making delicious chicken salad, and that secret is in the jar marked Miracle Whip salad dressing you can buy at your grocer's. The wonderful flavor of Miracle Whip, its lively, teasing flavor, the flavor that no other salad dressing has, is what gives chicken salad or any other salad made with Miracle Whip its unusual goodness. Get a jar of Miracle Whip salad dressing tomorrow and see if you don't agree with the millions who call Miracle Whip their favorite salad dressing.
Mr. Bullard, it was all for the kids. They need that loan to finish their house. Don't turn them down. Please.
Gildersleeve, they shall have the loan.
They shall? Yeah, they will? Oh, great. You won't regret it. They'll pay good interest.
I don't care if they ever pay any interest.
What?
I don't care if they ever repay the loan. I'll repay it myself.
Mr. Bullard, I didn't realize you were such a generous man.
I'm not. It's the thought of Marjorie and Bronco having to live with you until their house is finished. I say, hang the cost. Finish it.
Well, what the heck? I got it for him. Good night, folks.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Willard Waterman. The show is written by John Elliott and Andy White and is partially transcribed. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley, Mary Lee Robb, Lillian Randolph, Gail Gordon, Earl Ross, and Dick LeGrand. Musical compositions by Jack Meakin. This is John Heaston saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company, makers of the famous line of Kraft quality food products. Be sure to listen in next Wednesday and every Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
Delicious cold cuts for luncheon or supper make a welcome change of pace from the hot meals you've been serving. Easy to fix, too. But here's a tip. Be sure there's delicious Kraft prepared mustard on the table. Because when you add a little mustard, you add a lot of tang. There are two kinds of Kraft mustard. Mild Kraft mustard, so smooth and delicately spiced, and Kraft mustard with snappy horseradish added to give it extra zip. Keep both kinds on hand for different tastes. Next time, get Kraft prepared mustard.
Stay tuned to Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life, next on NBC.
The Kraft Foods Company presents Willard Waterman as the Great Gildersleeve. Great Gildersleeve is brought to you, partially transcribed, by the Kraft Foods Company. Kraft, makers of Velveeta, the famous pasteurized, processed cheese food that tastes so good and is so good for you. Yes, Velveeta is another of the Kraft family of fine foods. Foods you can depend on for delicious eating, for wholesome, healthy eating. So remember, to get the cheese food of quality, get Velveeta, the cheese food that's made by Kraft. Well, it's Friday afternoon in Summerfield. School is out, and the great Gildersleeve's nephew, Leroy, is heading for home. But he isn't exactly burning up the sidewalk. He seems to be puzzled about something. He walks a few steps. Then he stops.
There's something going on.
He walks a little further. And then he stops.
I can tell when Unc's trying to pull something. I can see through him like a book.
Now, as he walks on, his nose lifts to the wind. Like a beagle, he catches a scent. And there he goes. Up the walk. Down the driveway. Up the back steps. Through the back door.
Hi, Bertie, making donuts?
Leroy, where'd you come from?
School, where are the donuts?
On the table cooling, but them belong to Miss Marjorie.
Oh, boy.
Leroy, you stay away. Those are for the Girl Scouts.
Okay, I'm a Girl Scout.
Get your hands off that.
Okay. Hey, have you and Bertie noticed anything funny about Uncle Mort lately?
What do you mean?
Well, he's been acting awful funny, hasn't he, Bertie?
He ain't been acting no funnier than usual.
He has to me. I noticed this morning when I came downstairs.
Get away from the donuts.
What? Oh, gee, my hands just drifted that way. Must be magnetism. Well, this morning when we were eating breakfast, he had a kind of a look on his face. Kind of smiling. Especially when we were talking about next week.
I didn't notice any look.
Well, kind of like the cat that ate the canary. I'll bet you anything he's trying to pull a fast one on somebody.
Get away from those donuts.
I was just waving my arm.
Well, wave it the other way. You're making this silly talk about Uncle Mort just so you can snitch something.
I am not. There's something fishy. And it's something to do with me.
Leroy, your uncle wouldn't put nothing over on you.
No, but he's going to try.
How you know?
I met him on the way home from school, and he took me to Peavy's drugstore and bought me a soda. And I didn't even ask him.
Hurry up, Judge. Answer the door. Pokey old goat.
Who's there?
Don't glare at me through that peephole, Judge.
Is that you, Gildy?
Do I look like Eisenhower? Let me in.
Come in, Gildy. I couldn't tell who it was at first. You had the end of your cigar in the peephole.
All right, Judge.
I thought at first the front porch was on fire.
I can't stay, Judge. I'm on my way home. Stopped in to see if I could borrow your big suitcase. You know, the one with the Palm Beach stickers on it?
Oh, certainly. Now, where is that big suitcase? Do you have it?
If I had it, I wouldn't be here to borrow it.
Oh, that's right. I recall now. I loaned it to Miss Matterhorn last June when she drove to Duluth. But I can get it for you, Gildy.
Well, that's fine, Judge. Can I have it soon?
I'll bring it by first thing in the morning. Where are you going?
Well, keep this under your hat. But I'm going to a water commissioners' meeting in Omaha. Taking the train.
Why is it under the hat? Is it illegal?
It's because of Leroy, Judge. Every year when I make this trip, he pesters me to go along. Last April, the meeting was in Sheboygan. The only place in the world he wanted to go was Sheboygan. Pestered me night and day. By George, I'm not going through it again this year.
How can you help it? He's bound to find out you're going.
No, he won't. You're the only one who knows where I'm going. And I'll do my packing in the garage, and I'll sneak out. Send him a wire after I'm on the train.
Well, I hope it works. Leroy is pretty sharp.
Well, I'm sharper. I'm going to fool him this time. Nobody knows I'm going but you and me. If you don't spill the beans, he can't find out.
Don't you worry about me. There's no holes in this beanbag.
Fine. See you in the morning, Judge. Say, it's after 9 o'clock, Leroy. How does it happen you're staying home on Friday night?
Well, when you said you were going to stay home tonight, Unc, I decided I'd stay home, too. I'm happy when I'm with you.
Well, I'm flattered.
Yeah.
Marjorie, what about you, my dear?
Oh, Bronco's working, and I have all these boxes to wrap for the Girl Scouts. I made donuts.
I tried one.
It's the Girl Scouts' 40th birthday.
If they eat them, it'll be their last.
Oh, and they're doing wonderful work, Unky. In these times, we really need them.
That's very true indeed.
Well, what's new, Unc?
What's new?
Yeah. Any new stuff come up or anything like that?
Oh. Oh, no. Nothing at all, my boy.
Excuse me, Uncle Mort. Bertie, have you seen that ribbon?
I've been thinking, Unc. Ours has been a beautiful friendship.
Friendship?
Yeah. I don't know why, but I trust you.
You don't say.
We're not just men. We're buddies.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Well, now, I mean, if I knew something, I'd tell you right away.
What do you know?
Well, nothing right now, but if I should, I'd tell you.
Well, that's the way to do.
Anything at all that I knew, I'd tell you.
Well, good. Where's the inside section of the paper?
Anything at all. You're sitting on it.
Oh, yes.
I guess it must be pretty keen having a nephew like me.
What's this?
A buddy you can tell stuff to.
Leroy, what kind of stuff are you hinting at?
Oh, all kinds. I'll listen to anything.
Well, I appreciate your companionship, my boy. But there's a big difference between being a patient listener and being just plain nosy. And you're nosy.
Unc, I'm just interested in you.
Leroy, I know what you're trying to find out. You're wasting your time, and you know it.
How do I know it? I don't even know what I'm trying to find out.
Well, you're not going to know either. This is one time when your old uncle is going to keep something strictly to himself.
Keep what to yourself?
What I'm keeping.
What you going to do, Unc?
I'm going to take a little nap in the couch.
Okay. I think I'll get something to eat. Hi, Bertie. What you doing?
Well, if this kitchen was a boat and this ironing board was a rail, I'd be sailing to Honolulu. But the way it is, I'm just pressing your uncle's pants.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I heard you in there prying away at your uncle. Did you pry up anything?
Nah, he's got something cooking, though. And it's something to do with me.
How you know?
I can smell it. This is frustrating.
Didn't he give you a hint?
Nothing.
Well, I was reading in the digest there about how some folks will talk in their sleep. Now, if you can't get anything out of him when he's awake, well, you ought to try him when he's snoozing.
Nah. All he says when he's asleep is reeble deeble and what you for.
I don't know. Here's the article right here, and it says, button your lip on the pillow slip.
Let me see here. It has been found that certain people, if spoken to while asleep, will reply and often answer questions without awakening. Hey, I wonder if that would work with Unc.
Now, don't ask me, and I didn't put you up to nothing. I just mentioned it. That's all. I just mentioned it.
Gee, I wonder.
Now, Leroy, don't you get me in no cahoots.
We gotta try it.
We don't have to try nothing. Don't you get me in no cahoots.
What are you scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing. Don't you get me in no cahoots.
Well, I'm going in and see if he's asleep. Yeah, he's rolling. Oh, brother, listen to that. What a sawmill. How can I talk to him with all that racket? Hey, Unc. could be a pretty dull conversation. Hey, Unc. Uncle Mort, you're planning something and you aren't telling anybody.
You're not telling anybody.
Hey, I got a spark out of him. What are you going to do, Uncle Mort?
Did you bet you don't say a thing to Leroy?
Leroy is a bum.
No, he isn't. He's my nephew's. But he's nosy.
I am not.
There's this, too.
What are you going to do, Uncle Mort?
She's taking the train to the Water Commissioner's meeting. Omaha.
Oh, going to Omaha? Hey, Unc, wake up, Unc.
Huh? What's this?
Wake up, Unc.
Leroy? What's the matter?
Unc, can I go to Omaha with you?
You what?
Can I go to Omaha with you? I've never been to Omaha. Can I go?
Leroy, who told you I was going to Omaha?
Oh, Bird.
Bird? Whoosh. It must have been Judge Hooker. He was the only one who knew. Wait till I get my hands in that gabby old goat.
The great Gildersleeve will be back in just a minute. Need an idea for a tempting, satisfying Lenten main dish? Then how about a pinwheel vegetable casserole? You make it with carrots, onions, green beans, peas, and a wonderful Velveeta cream sauce, and you top the Velveeta vegetable mixture with biscuit pinwheels. Now, you'll find the exact recipe for this pinwheel vegetable casserole, along with recipes for 8 other hearty, delicious Lenten main dishes, in a handy folder packed right in the 2-pound box of Velveeta, Kraft's famous pasteurized processed cheese food. So when you buy Velveeta, and remember, I mean the 2-pound loaf, just lift out the golden cheese food, and under it you'll find the folder of 9 wonderful main dish recipes. Every one of them sure to be delicious, because Velveeta has such a marvelous, rich, yet mild cheddar cheese flavor. And you can be sure the main dishes you make with Velveeta will be nourishing, too, because Velveeta is rich in high-quality, complete protein, as well as other important food values from milk. What's more, Velveeta is the cheese food every member of the family can enjoy because it's digestible as milk itself. Stop at your grocer's tomorrow and take home a 2-pound loaf of Velveeta. Just be sure you see the name Velveeta on the package you buy. Remember, Velveeta is the cheese food of top quality, and it's made only by Kraft. Well, the new day has dawned on the home of the great Gildersleeve, but the secret of the Water Commissioner's trip to Omaha is no longer a secret. The cat is out of the bag.
Unc, where are you, Unc?
I'm in here, shaving.
Can I go with you to Omaha?
No.
I won't get in the way, Unc.
No?
I'll save you money. I'll wear short pants and go for half fare.
No.
I'll get in the trunk and ride in the baggage car.
No.
Excuse me, Jack Hooker's outside.
Yeah, that hooker, I want to talk to him. Feather-brained old blabbermouth.
He didn't tell me.
Leroy, don't stand there and fib to me. He's the only one who knew I was going.
Excuse me.
All right, Bertie.
Jack Hooker's outside.
I heard you, Bertie.
You coming?
Yes.
Can I go, Unc?
No.
Well, I'm coming. Yes or no?
Oh, this family. Out of the way, Leroy.
You got shaving cream on your face.
I know it. By George, life is a losing battle.
Judge Hooker stand out on the porch. For some reason, he don't want to come in.
He probably wants room to run. And he'll need it.
What's the matter? What happened?
Judge.
Morning, Gildy. I brought the big suitcase over. I didn't want to bring it in the house. Leroy might ask questions.
Don't try to pull the wool over my eyes.
What's happened to your face? Did you sit too close to the television and somebody hit you with a pie?
This is shaving cream, and quit changing the subject. What's the idea of telling Leroy I was going to Omaha?
Who told him?
You did.
I did not.
Judge, don't point your chin whiskers at me. You did, and you know it.
Don't you shake your fat finger under my nose, you overblown water merchant. I'll throw you. Oh! Stand back. You're blowing shaving cream on my glasses.
Judge, tell me the truth. Did you spill the beans to Leroy?
I did not. I haven't seen Leroy.
Well, then who did it? You're the only one who knew. There's nobody else.
That's a mystery to me. Maybe he just took a guess at it.
He couldn't have.
Well, it's beyond me. I brought the suitcase over. It's in your garage.
Thanks, Judge. I guess you're a good friend after all. But if you were the only one
I'm not going through that again. Have a nice time in Omaha.
You're right, Judge.
Excuse me, breakfast!
You're all right, Bertie.
Hey,
Oh, here it goes again.
look, I got a map and I found Omaha.
Could I have my breakfast?
Sure, you eat and I'll tell you some keen stuff.
I can't eat with that map on the table. You got Montreal in my oatmeal.
Okay.
I don't want to hear any more about the trip. We're not going to mention it again.
Okay.
Who told you I was going?
We're not talking about it anymore.
Leroy, don't be stubborn.
Good morning, Unky. Leroy.
Marjorie. Right, George, that's the answer. The judge told you I was going on a trip, didn't he?
What trip?
The one we're not talking about.
Unky, I haven't seen Judge Hooker for a week.
Are we talking about it again?
Of course we're talking about it.
Can I go, Unc?
Leroy, I told you...
What's this all about? I must have missed something.
Unc's going to Omaha on a train, and maybe I can go with him. Maybe, Unc?
I didn't say maybe.
Okay, perhaps.
No.
Okay, but there's a chance.
No!
Unky, you're shouting.
Well, I have to shout to get the idea across to your brother. He's been pestering and teasing and heckling since last night. He hasn't stopped once. That's why I didn't want him to know I was going. If I ever find the knucklehead who told him.
I'm sorry, Unc.
Well, let's forget it. We'll let bygones be bygones.
Who did tell you, Leroy?
Sure. Just for fun, who was it?
No, let's let bygones be bygones.
All right.
What's the matter, Unky?
Nothing. Just eat. Everybody eat. I'm perfectly all right.
Unc.
Doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Not a bit.
Unc.
Yes.
You're spreading jam on your napkin.
Hello, Peavy.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. What can I do for you this morning?
Peavy, the first thing you can do for me is answer a question.
Well, there's no charge for information.
Did Judge Hooker tell you I was going to Omaha?
No. But I recall that he did tell me you were going to Chicago.
Chicago? When was this?
Back in 1932, I believe it was.
Peavy, I'm talking about now. Yesterday. Last night.
That covers quite a bit of time.
Peavy, stop beating around the bush.
Well, quit chasing me.
Have you talked to the judge since yesterday?
Let's see, have I?
Don't ask me. I'm asking you.
No, I don't believe I have.
Well, confound it, Peavy. Somebody told Leroy I was going to Omaha. Somebody had to tell him.
All right, what about it?
What about it? Nobody did. That's what about it. The boy isn't a magician. How'd he find out?
Don't ask me.
Driving me crazy. How would you feel if you saw something happen that you couldn't explain? What would you do if your soda fountain suddenly rose up in the air and floated around the room?
I'd call the plumber.
You probably would. Well, I'm not licked yet. I'll get to the bottom of this if it kills me.
What you doing with that bag?
I'm packing some stuff.
Where you think you're going?
I'm going with Unc to Omaha.
What you mean? You heard what your uncle said at breakfast.
Just give me time. I'm not licked yet. I haven't even started. That's you, Unc?
Yes, it's me.
Here, Bertie, take the bag. Duck it in the kitchen.
There you go, getting me into cahoots again. I don't know why Mr. Gildersleeve got to go to Omaha anyhow.
Hi, Unc.
Leroy, don't start anything.
I'm not starting anything.
Well, don't.
I just said hi.
And don't grin at me either. You're not as smart as you think you are, you know.
I know it.
Now, I'll find out where you got that information. I have ways, you know.
Sure you will.
This may seem like a very clever trick to you, but it's very simple to me. I have a few brains, too.
Oh, I know. You're one of the smartest men I know. You've lived longer than I have.
Well, just don't forget it.
You've done a lot of things and been a lot of places and seen a lot of things that I've never seen. I'm just a little kid. I've never been anywhere.
Well, you'll have your chance.
It's tough, Unc, being a kid. Everybody else gets to do things and go places.
No, Leroy.
Other people have money. They can do things. A little kid doesn't have any money. He has to sit and wait for somebody to take him.
Don't start that again.
I sit here at home day after day. Lonely. You're away at the office. I have nobody to talk to.
You do, too.
Just women. I want to be with you, Unc. I miss you when you're away. I sit all alone and look at your picture.
Leroy.
I'm wasting the most beautiful years of my life. I won't be a little boy very long. I'll be grown up and gone away.
There's lots of time.
This is when I need you, Unc. When we should be together. Taking trips. To Omaha.
What an actor. Leroy, I'll make a deal with you.
You will? Can I go?
Not so fast. You were pretty slick finding out I was going on this trip. Well, if you can find out when I'm leaving, I'll take you along.
No kidding.
No kidding. And I'll tell you right now, it isn't going to be easy because you have no Judge Hooker or anybody else. I haven't told anybody I'm going.
Gee, I guess I'm out of luck.
Now, let it be a lesson to you, boy. Hiding things from your old uncle, prying secrets from my friends, bound to catch up with you in the long run.
Yeah, you're always so right about everything, Unc.
Well, I'm right about most things.
Unc, you look kind of tired.
Me? I just got up.
Your eyes look kind of heavy. Maybe you didn't sleep very well last night.
As a matter of fact, I didn't. After you woke me up.
Why don't you stretch out on the couch, Unc? Sure looks comfortable, doesn't it?
Leroy, stop pushing.
Well, I want you to protect your health. You're the only uncle I have.
Well, nice of you to take such an interest, my boy. The couch does feel good.
Sure.
Don't feel too badly about not going to Omaha with me, Leroy. You'll have your chance.
Sure. Maybe real soon.
Yeah.
Unc. Uncle Mort, when are you going to Omaha?
Just leaving on the 8:15 tonight.
8:15? All right, we're working on the railroad.
Leroy, what's that racket?
Just me singing.
Yeah, be a little more quiet.
By the way, Unc, you better be getting ready if we're leaving on the 8:15 tonight.
Yeah, I suppose it's... What? Leroy!
That's my back, Bertie. Here we go.
great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just 30 seconds. Any between-meal appetites at your house? Then make it a point to keep stock with Velveeta, Kraft's golden pasteurized processed cheese food. Velveeta is not only a wonderful helper for hot main dishes, it's a perfect snack food, too. It's delicious with a fine, rich, yet mild cheddar cheese flavor, and it's wholesome. What's more, Velveeta is digestible as milk itself, so it's perfect any time for anyone. Get it tomorrow. Velveeta, made by Kraft.
Good night, my boy. Wonderful the way a kid takes to a train. You wish I could be that comfortable in an upper berth. Do a little reading. Darn lower berth is pretty tight. You wonder how Leroy figured out when I was leaving. It's amazing. Digest magazine. I wonder if there's anything worth reading in here. Button your lip on the pillow slip. People answer questions in their sleep. Say, silly. But I wonder if that'd work on Leroy. Leroy, are you awake? He's asleep. Get this darn ladder over. Curtains. Leroy. Leroy. How did you know I was going on this trip? How did you find out when I was going?
Go back to bed, Unc. Good night.
Oh, what's the use? Good night, folks.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Willard Waterman. The show is written by John Elliott and Andy White and is partially transcribed. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley, Mary Lee Robb, Lillian Randolph, Earl Ross, and Dick LeGrand. Musical compositions by Jack Meakin. This is John Heaston saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company, makers of the famous line of Kraft quality food products. Be sure to listen in next Wednesday and every Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
Done up just right, a delicious hamburger can be truly a gourmet's delight, a big deal in eating pleasure. Of course, just about every good cook knows that a dash of Kraft prepared mustard really makes a hamburger. Because when you add a little mustard, you add a lot of tang. Kraft mustard, naturally. There are two kinds of Kraft prepared mustard. Mild Kraft mustard, if you like it smooth and delicately spiced. Snappy Kraft mustard with horseradish added, if you like it nippy. Get both kinds of Kraft prepared mustard at your food store.
Next, Groucho Marx presents You Bet Your Life on NBC.
The Kraft Foods Company presents Willard Waterman as the Great Gildersleeve. The Great Gildersleeve is brought to you, partially transcribed, by the Kraft Foods Company. Kraft, makers of Velveeta, the famous pasteurized processed cheese food that tastes so good and is so good for you. Yes, Velveeta is another of the Kraft family of fine foods. Foods you can depend on for delicious eating, for wholesome, healthy eating. So remember, to get the cheese food of quality, Get Velveeta, the cheese food that's made by Kraft. Along about this time every year, there are certain harbingers of spring. The merry chatter of birds in the trees, the crack of a bat on horsehide, and people coming out of their houses to dig in the yard. The great Gildersleeve hasn't started digging yet, but he's out in the yard.
Right, George Leroy, it's a great day.
Yeah.
Nice and balmy. Look at neighbor Bullard across the street. Happy as a bird dog digging in his yard.
What's he doing?
He's gardening, my boy. Turning the soil, planting the seed, working with his hands. Let's sit down here in the porch.
Makes you tired just watching him, huh?
Not at all. I'm just interested. That sort of thing intrigues me. Bullard may be an unpleasant neighbor at times, but anybody who loves flowers the way he does can't be all bad.
His yard sure makes ours look sick.
Well, he seems to find plenty of time to tinker with it. Nothing like a man getting out of the office and working around the yard, Leroy. Makes him forget his cares.
How do you know? You've never tried it.
Well, this year I'm going to. Look at that rambler rose he has. In another month it'll be loaded with blossoms. Yeah, I'd like one like that.
What for?
What for? To enjoy, that's what for. Nothing like stepping out in a spring morning and smelling the fragrance of roses.
Okay, but let Mr. Bullard raise him. We'll go over and smell his.
No, Leroy. It's not like having your own. All right, George, I think I'll go over and ask Bullard for a cutting. I put off the fun of gardening for too many years. Come on, Leroy.
Okay, but it looks like a lot of work.
No. Look at Bullard on his hands and knees in the dirt. There's a happy man. That's the life for me.
Unc, you don't know anything about gardening.
You just wait. I can see it all now. Riot of color growing on both sides of the street. Bullard working in his flower bed, me working in mine. Both of us cordially exchanging helpful hints. Just a couple of sons of the soil.
Oh, brother, you've had too much fresh air.
Well, hello, Mr. Bullard.
Oh, hello, Gildersleeve. Leroy.
Hi.
Well, I see you're gardening, too.
What do you mean, too?
Well, I'm about to start mine. What are you doing down there under the bushes?
I'm mulching my bed.
Mulching your bed?
Has he got a bed under there?
No, Leroy.
Well, what's he doing?
Well, just what he said he's doing. Mulching his bed.
The mulch, Leroy, feeds and protects the plant.
Yes, indeed. Where do you get that stuff, Mr. Bullard?
From the compost pile.
Oh?
What's a compost pile, Unc?
Well, you can see Leroy doesn't know much about gardening.
Well, you should explain it to him sometime, Gildersleeve.
I intend to. Mr. Bullard, how about giving me a cutting from your rose bush to start our garden?
Gildersleeve, you don't take cuttings in the spring. You take them in the fall.
You do? Yeah, I mean, you say, that's right. I'd forgotten it's March. My, how the time flies.
Yes.
Let's go home, Unc, and come back next fall.
Well, of course, I knew fall was a good time, but I thought with intensive cultivation and all, cutting might grow all right if Mr. Bullard cared to give us one.
No, Gildersleeve, I couldn't. These are my pride and joy. I developed the variety myself.
You did?
I wouldn't mention this if the fact hadn't already been published in numerous horticultural magazines, but this is known as the Rumsonola rose.
Rumsonola? Oh, I see. For your first name, Rumson.
What's his middle name, Rose?
Leroy. Well, Mr. Bullard, I'd better be getting back home if I'm going to give you gardening competition this year.
Competition?
No, Mr. Bullard, you're not the only gardener in the block.
Well, Gildersleeve, what makes you think you have a green thumb?
Well...
You'll never have a garden. You just looked across the street at my beautiful yard and got jealous.
Is that so? Well, you wait until I come back from the nursery. I'll show you what I can do for that yard.
I have a suggestion that might improve it.
Oh?
Put up a sign, no dumping.
Watch it, Rumson all rose.
Happy sons of the soil. Come on, Unc, let's go home.
Well, let's go in, Leroy.
Nick's nursery. What are you going to buy, Unc?
Well, I don't know yet. We'll talk to the man here.
Can I help you, young fellows?
Yes, indeed. We're getting ready to do a little gardening.
Well, we have everything the gardener needs, and a few things he doesn't need. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Leroy, what do we plant this year?
I don't know.
Well, what did you grow last year?
Weeds.
Weeds? Well, we did have some hollyhocks back at the garage. They were pretty hard to find by the end of the summer.
Yeah.
It's going to be different this year, though.
Yeah, Unc's going to outdo Mr. Bullard.
Rumson Bullard? Why, I know him. Say, when it comes to flowers, that fellow's an artist.
Well, I can do anything he can do. I know my stuff about flowers. What are those things over there?
Azaleas.
Yeah, well, give me some of those and a couple of dozen violas. And I've always wanted to grow some of those Philadelphians.
Philadelphians. Well, that's funny. I pronounce it delphiniums.
Well, that's all right.
How about some begonia bulbs?
Does Bullard have them?
Oh, lots of them.
Well, I want a lot of them, too. And I want to buy a compost pile.
A compost pile. Well, a compost pile takes a little doing.
Well, let's do it. And I want some of these pansies and snapdragons.
Well, just a minute. If you're going to have a yard like Mr. Bullard, I'd better get another pad and pencil. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show Bullard and his Rumson all rose. Before the summer's over, I may develop a Gildy bloomer.
Bigger car, Unc. Where are we going to put the rest of the stuff?
Can't we get something else in the back, Leroy?
Nah, it's loaded and so is the trunk.
Well, we'll have to tie some more flats on top of the car. Here, give me a hand with this box.
Okay.
Yeah, up she goes.
Gosh, Unc, do you think we have enough yard for all this?
Well...
We may have to plant the roof of the house.
We'll see.
Hey, Unc, here comes Judge Hooker.
What? Oh, hello, Judge.
Hello, Gildy. Leroy.
Hi.
What are you up to?
We were just taking this stuff home in the car, Judge.
Is a car under there? I thought it was a king-size flower pot.
Leroy and I are going to do a little gardening this year.
You are. Speak for yourself, Unc.
Yes, sir, Judge, I'm going all out. Before you know it, I'll be the Luther Burbank of Summerfield.
I must say this is quite a surprise, Gildy. What gave you the urge? Did you see a little bird scratching the turf in the warm sun?
No, he saw Mr. Bullard down on his knees in the dirt.
Oh. Well, there's no greater satisfaction than watching the seed you plant yourself burst through the ground and rise to full flower, its color dazzling the eyes, its perfume titillating the senses. I get giddy just thinking about it.
Giddy old goat.
Let's see what you're putting in your garden. My, you have a lot. Azaleas, violas, and begonias.
Judge, stop pawing through my plants.
Yeah, you may get bitten by a snapdragon.
Gildy, where do you plan to put these?
Everything's going in the front yard, where Bullard can see them.
Well, I can see that you don't know what you're doing.
What do you mean?
The front of your house is in the sun most of the day, and most of these plants require shade.
They do?
Now, these mignonettes and cinerarias would do splendidly at my house.
Sell them to him, Unc. We got plenty.
Gildy, I'm afraid with this selection, your garden is doomed. You need shade.
By George, I'll go back and exchange them for some sunflowers. Leroy, you stay here with the judge while I go talk to Nick.
Okay, Unc.
I didn't realize gardening took so much time. Pretty expensive, too. I wonder if Nick oversold me a little.
Well, you back again?
Nick, About the plants. It just occurred to me that I bought quite a few varieties that require more shade than I have at home.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. How about exchanging them?
Well, that may not be necessary. What you need is some more plants.
Some more?
Yes, some big ones to shade the little ones. Zinnias, yeah.
You sold me some of those.
Oh, I did.
Let's just exchange them for something that doesn't require so much shade.
Well, if it's shade you're short on, what you need is a tree.
A tree?
Yeah.
Well, what the heck? Let's look at some trees. Now, Leroy, we'll start by planting the shrubs.
We?
Yeah, let's see what it says here. Dig a much larger hole than the root system requires. Break up the bottom of the hole with a pick.
Where are you getting all that?
Out of this book Nick sold me. Gardening is fun.
Ah!
Well, it is. Leroy?
Yeah?
Would you like to have the pleasure of digging the first hole?
It's your garden, Unc. I want you to have the fun.
Well, there's plenty of fun for all. I can see that.
Unc,
Yes, my boy.
I've noticed Mr. Bullard always seems happiest when he's gardening all alone.
Oh?
And I want you to be as happy in your garden as possible.
You do?
So I'll be big about it and go fix my bike wheel.
What a sneaky way to get out of helping me. Well, I'll go it alone. But I'll work up to the big hole by digging some little ones and plant these seedlings. I'll put a row right here. Yes. Yeah. Sure, this is fun. Somehow I feel I should be sharing my happiness with somebody else. Say, women like to putter in the garden. I don't want to be selfish about this. Marjorie!
Yes, Unky?
Oh, there you are.
I've been watching you through the window.
You want to join in the fun?
I thought Leroy was helping you.
Well, he had to fix his bicycle.
Oh, well, thank you, Unky, but I have to make out my Christmas list.
Christmas list? Christmas is months away. That's just an excuse.
I know, but it's as good as the one Leroy gave you.
Well, she doesn't know what she's missing. Yeah. But if she and Leroy don't want to... Yeah. Say, I wonder what Bertie's doing. Bertie! I wonder if she's hiding. Yo, Bertie!
You call me Miss Gildersleeve?
Yes, Bertie. I've decided I'd let everybody share in planting our flower garden. While the sun is warm, how'd you like to come out and get the begonias started?
I'd love to, Miss Gildersleeve.
Good.
But I'll just start to the market.
Well, can't that wait?
You can't eat begonia. I was going to get a big steak, but if you'd rather I helped you, why,
Steak?
doing all that work, I knew you'd be hungry for a big steak, but if you want to eat cold leftovers, I'll be glad to help.
You better go to the market, Bertie.
Yes.
Everybody sure works hard to avoid working.
See you later, Unc.
Leroy, get off that bicycle and grab a shovel.
Oh, for corn's sake!
The great Gildersleeve will be back in just a minute. Take shrimp, take rice, take a golden cheese sauce made with Kraft's famous pasteurized processed cheese food Velveeta, and you have the makings of one of the most delicious and different main dishes you could want. It's shrimp rice biloxi, and it's perfect for Lent. Now, the exact recipe for shrimp rice biloxi, along with 8 other recipes for delicious, hearty Lenten main dishes, comes in a handy folder that's packed right in every 2-pound box of Velveeta. So when you get your 2-pound loaf of Velveeta, simply lift out the cheese food, and underneath you'll find your recipe folder. Get Velveeta at your grocer's tomorrow and start enjoying these wonderful main dishes right away. Velveeta makes every one of them especially delicious because Velveeta has such a marvelous, rich, yet mild cheddar cheese flavor. And these main dishes are hearty ones, nourishing ones, because Velveeta adds high-quality, complete protein as well as other important food values from milk. And you know, Velveeta is digestible as milk itself. So it's the perfect cheese food for even the tiniest youngsters. Put Velveeta on your shopping list now. Don't forget, the handy new recipe booklet is in every 2-pound loaf. Just be sure you see the name Velveeta on the package you buy. Velveeta is the cheese food of top quality, and it's made only by Kraft. After observing his neighbor Rumson Bullard happily tending his flowers, the great Gildersleeve decided gardening would be a lot of fun. He must have thought the more he planted, the more fun he'd have, for he practically bought out the nursery.
Come on, Leroy. You help pick out the stuff. You can help plant it.
Oh, gosh, do I have to, Unc?
Yes, indeed. You're in this as deep as I am. Now start shoveling.
Unc, let's talk this over man to man.
Now, Leroy, I know you. You're just trying to get out of work.
Me? Oh, no, Unc, I'm thinking about you.
You are?
I always think about you.
Well, that's very kind of you. Now start shoveling.
But, Unc, even though I'll be happy to do the digging and the planting, you'll still have to do all the hard work.
Oh? Such as what?
Well, stuff a little kid like me doesn't know anything about. The cultivating and pruning and that mulching deal.
Well, I guess I will have to find time for that.
But can you, Unc? You're a busy man.
Well, yes, I am.
You can't neglect your office just to pay nursemaid to some flowers.
That does sound a little ridiculous, doesn't it?
Look at this yard full of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to be done yet.
Even if we ever got it planted, you'd have to stay away from the office to keep it going. I'd probably flunk out of school. You'd probably lose your job. Before we knew it, there wouldn't be anything to eat in the house.
Well, as Bertie says, we can't eat begonias.
It isn't too late, Unc. We can return everything to the nursery, 90% unopened.
Well...
Wouldn't you feel good if you knew you didn't have to dig another hole?
By George, it just isn't worth it. Let's put everything back in the car.
Sure, everything we haven't planted.
I may take up a few things I have planted.
Oh, hello, Gildersleeve.
What? Yo, Mr. Bullard. Didn't see you come across the street.
I couldn't resist coming over to make sure I saw what I thought I saw. You're actually setting out plans.
Yes,
I must say I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't think you cared whether or not you had a nice yard.
We don't. We're taking the stuff.
Leroy.
Where are you taking it, Leroy?
Well, we're going to...
Yeah, I'll tell him, Leroy. See, Mr. Bullard, we're taking some of it around on the other side of the house.
What?
Well, apparently you bought enough to plant front and back.
But look, I thought you
Leroy, you're interrupting your elders. Yeah, I'm afraid Leroy doesn't like the work, Mr. Bullard.
Well, it's much more pleasant with the proper equipment. Where did you get that shovel, Gildersleeve?
From the fireplace. It is a little small.
You have a tremendous amount of ground to turn. What you need is a cultivator.
A cultivator?
A small plow.
What do we need then, a horse?
Your uncle will be the horse.
Me?
You push the plow, Gildersleeve.
Oh.
The exercise will do you good. I've spent years at gardening, and look at my physique.
Muscles.
You, too, can have a chest like mine. By the way, where is yours?
My chest?
It's hiding behind your belt. Goodbye, Gildersleeve, and good gardening.
Nosy neighbor.
Unc, what happened?
Leroy, don't ask questions. Just hand me the shovel.
What a character.
Is that you, Leroy?
What's left of me? Boy, am I bush.
You should be. You and your uncle been out there working all day. Dinner's ready.
It's nearly dark, Leroy. How can he see what he's planting?
Doesn't make any difference. He doesn't know what he's planting anyway.
Look at that poor man out there breaking his back.
What's that thing he's pushing around?
It's a hand plow that Mr. Bullard talked him into buying. Another $22 shot.
Well, I'm going to call him in to dinner.
That should bring him in.
Miss Gildersleeve! Dinner!
One more furrow, Bertie.
Oh, come on in, Unc. Even horses have to eat.
I'll be right in.
Unky can't stand this kind of work. He should have stopped long ago.
He couldn't. Mr. Bullard's been watching him from across the street.
Oh, here he comes.
Wash up, Unc.
I am washed up.
Shall I put dinner on the table?
No, Bertie, don't rush me.
Oh, poor Unky.
Just let me go in and lie down on the couch for a minute.
Uncle Mort, you're going into the pantry.
Oh,
Hey, he's punchy.
it's been a hard day, Leroy.
Did you run out of plants, Unky?
No, I ran out of yard. Oh, couch, you look beautiful. I've been thinking about you for hours. It's great to stretch out. Take off my shoes, Leroy. I want to wiggle my toes.
Okay.
I'll get you slippers, Uncle Mort.
Unc, you got mud all over one shoe.
I fell into one of the holes I dug. This couch makes up for everything.
Miss Gildersleeve,
Yes, Bertie.
I don't want to rush you, but I've been holding dinner, and I know you don't like the steak too well done.
Well, if I don't get up now, I'll never get up. Hey, I can't get up. I got a catch in my back. Yo!
Try again, Unc.
Yo! My back! Oh!
Do you feel better now, Unky?
Yes, if I lie still. Except for the catch in my back and a couple of Charlie horses, I feel great. I wish Bertie'd tone it down. I felt that.
Oh, it must be Mr. Peavy with the things you ordered.
I hope so.
If you want anything, call me, Unky.
You're all right, my dear.
Good evening, Miss Peavy.
Yeah, hello, Bertie. Mr. Gildersleeve in?
Yes, sir. He ain't going no place tonight.
In the den, Peavy.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. Don't get up.
Don't worry, I won't. Sit down, Peavy.
Very well. Now, let's see if I brought all the things you wanted from the drugstore. And your heating pad, rubbing alcohol, liniment, callus pad, hairnet.
Hairnet?
Oh, that's for Mrs. Pettibone down the street.
Oh.
Of course, I could leave it if you don't think you'll be able to get to the barber shop for some time.
Never mind, Peavy.
And I brought along a book you might like.
A book?
25 selected poems for 25 cents. Compliments to the pharmacy.
Yeah, thanks, Peavy, but
Let's see what we have here. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how did your garden grow?
Peavy, I don't want to hear anything about gardens. Just plug in the heating pad, will you?
Very well.
Oh.
Mr. Gildersleeve, where did you get this sudden notion to start a garden?
From Bullard. It's all his fault. He tricked me into it. He made it look like fun.
Yeah, I could have told you it wasn't much fun. Mrs. Peavy and I tried it one summer.
You did?
We held our own for 2 months and then gave it back to the insects. All we have now is a window box.
Yeah, I'll bet even that keeps you busy.
No, it doesn't. Artificial flowers.
Well, from now on, I don't want even a window box. Peavy, I spent $50 today on that garden.
You spent $57.50.
What?
Counting the heating pad and the remedies. Here's the bill.
I should send it to Bullard. He's responsible for all these bills, these aches and pains. He even came over here and talked me into buying a plow.
You don't say.
If he ever comes here again, I'll chase him right off the property. All right, Bertie.
Well, good evening, Bertie.
Mr. Bullard. Bullard.
Mr. Bullard.
My.
I'd like to see Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yes, sir, he's right there in the tent.
Thanks.
If I wasn't flat on my back.
Oh, hello, Peavy.
Well, hello, Mr. Bullard.
Gildersleeve, I hear you're not feeling well.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a little present for you.
A present? For me? Is that what you're holding behind your back?
Yes. I've been admiring your efforts in the yard.
Oh, that.
You're proving yourself as a gardener, and as a token of my admiration, I'd like to give you one of my most valuable possessions.
Wonderful. What could it be?
Here you are, a potted rumsonola rose.
Another flower?
Now, I hope you'll cherish it as I do. Tend it with loving hands. Now, first thing in the morning, dig a large hole.
You start digging holes again.
Gildersleeve, why are you looking at me with those wild eyes? Why are you getting off the couch? Gildersleeve, put down that pot. You wouldn't throw that at me, would you? Run, Peavy. The man doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Let me out of here.
Look at him go. By George, gardening can be fun.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just 30 seconds. Remember, Lenten menu planning needn't be a problem. Now you can get a handy new recipe folder with 9 wonderful recipes for hearty, delicious Lenten main dishes you make with Velveeta, Kraft's famous pasteurized processed cheese food. To get this handy recipe folder, buy a 2-pound package of Velveeta, lift out the cheese food, and there you have it. Tomorrow, get a 2-pound loaf of Velveeta from your grocer. That's Velveeta, the cheese food of top quality, made only by Kraft.
Well, Leroy, in the clear light of morning, our new flower garden looks pretty nice.
Yeah, not bad.
Wait till Bullard sees my roses. They'll make his look like a bed of dry moss.
Oh, good morning, Gildersleeve.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Bullard. I was just out looking over the little rose bushes I planted yesterday.
Mm-hmm. These were bare root roses, I presume.
Oh, yes, bare root. That's the way you buy them, you know.
Yes, I know.
I guess I surprised you the way I put in this garden.
Yes, you certainly did.
What do you think of it?
Well, Gildersleeve, if the city will build a tunnel under your yard, it will have roses on the ceiling.
Watch this.
You've planted them upside down.
That does it. Good night, folks.
The Great Gildersleeve is played by Willard Waterman. The show is written by John Elliott and Andy White and is partially transcribed. Included in the cast are Walter Tetley, Mary Lee Robb, Lillian Randolph, Gail Gordon, Will Wright, Earl Ross, and Dick LeGrand. Musical compositions by Jack Meakin. This is John Heaston saying goodnight for the Kraft Foods Company, makers of the famous line of Kraft quality food products. Be sure to listen in next Wednesday and every Wednesday for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
What goes into a perfect sandwich? Maybe it's roast beef or savory baked ham. Whatever your favorite, the perfect meat sandwich needs the perfect mustard, Kraft prepared mustard. For when you add a little mustard, you add a lot of tang. You can take your choice of 2 kinds of Kraft mustard. Mild Kraft mustard is smooth and delicately spiced. Or if you like your mustard with extra pep, try Kraft mustard with snappy horseradish added. Keep them both on hand and keep everyone in the family happy. Next time, get Kraft prepared mustard.
Next, Groucho Marx presents You Bet Your Life on NBC.